And our final value might be as important as our very first value, incarnational ministry, the decision to follow Jesus and to be with the world that he has placed us in, and then this idea of being an intentionally transformational community, that we know in following Jesus, we can't not only stay where we are, we can't stay how we are. So Vineyard historically has a wonderful phrase, come as you are and you'll be loved. There's also another side to that, which is come as you are, but don't stay as you are. We know that as we come into this life of faith with God, we also bring with it baggage, addiction, pain, areas of brokenness and wounding, that as God in his mercy and kindness heals through his Spirit and in community, we become different people. And by God's grace, we do not stay the same. That is his joy and his delight, that we are renewed, that we are transformed, that we are not gripped by the things that we were in our former ways, that we are a new creation, and that we are changed into the likeness of Jesus by the grace and power and kindness of God. He invites us, woos us, draws us into a lifelong process of being transformed. And it's expressed broadly in the church in almost every ministry. They hopefully are all at their essence through the process of disciple making, intended to cause people to become someone that they are not yet. So Alpha is evangelistic in its context. Financial Peace University addresses transformation in financial principles, financial stewardship. Joining into a small group connects life with one another and allows healing to take root. Faith Walking, School of Kingdom Ministry, ministry time every single week is intended to put people into a position where in humility they say, God, would you meet me and would you change me? Emotionally, financially, spiritually, relationally, by saying yes to vulnerability and the authenticity that is required to grow. In leadership expression, it is again kind of just the sense of modeling that we are growing into Christ-likeness, and specifically with a plan. That we are growing in our self-awareness and doing so with a plan, that we're getting feedback. And this is probably one of the places where, for Julie and I specifically, Faith Walking has been the most impactful, is developing habits of asking for feedback. Is what is it like when I'm anxious? What am I like when I'm stressed? What am I like when things aren't going well? What are the default ways that I kind of bend towards checking out or numbing or medicating in any variety of ways, watching television, Netflix, stuff like that. And so leaders hopefully are doing a couple of things. One, you have a plan towards transformation, and that would include your own personal devotions, your quiet times. You have a plan towards growing in self-awareness, that you are asking for assistance in the areas of life that you get stuck, that you're aware of where those are, and that you are living into community and that you're living under authority. The scriptures really do create a clear awareness that those who are given leadership are held to a higher account. And what that means is you're not held to a higher account by way of being perfect. You're held to a higher account by when you become aware of the things of struggle, that we bring those into the light, asking for the help that the church leadership, that our community can provide. And gosh, maybe the word accountability matters in this space, that we be accountable to one another to grow in health, so that those that we're leading are also being transformed by our process indirectly. So questions that might surface some resistance. Is there an area of life that God has put his finger on? Is there something going on in the inner workings, in the inner life, spiritually, emotionally, relationally, that God has put his finger on? Anger, habitual disobedience, issues of sin, disconnectedness, critical natures, anything like that. And what are you doing about it? Is there something that you're doing to become unstuck? Do you have a plan? What areas do those things seem to cycle and repeat? And have you shared those? Are you getting prayer for those? And when you hear about Faith Walking specifically, because this is a ministry that you can obviously tell if you've been with us for the last couple of years, we're putting our chips in the center of the table for this because of the impact it's had, not just on our lives, not just on Julie and I, but as we see its work in people we trust, people we love, and people that we have led through this journey. What are your thoughts when you hear the idea of Faith Walking, when you are asked to examine formative experiences and then practice habits to see new patterns develop into the future? Does that scare you? Does that inspire you? Are you thinking about carving out the window of time to do 101 and then the consistent commitment to go further into that? What are your concerns? What are your questions? What resistance do you see when you hear something like that promoted? Do you think, I've been there, don't need it, I've done that, I know, I'm good, I'm fine? Just be attentive to anything where specifically around these transformative spaces you might sense resistance. And then for curiosity, a couple of things. What would it mean to you to live life as you imagined is available in Christ? Especially for those of us who came to faith and can remember the clear invitation that God was going to make us someone different. Do you still imagine that life? And what would it mean like for you? And how would your meaningful relationships be impacted as you become more Christ-like? So those are the values that guide and govern DCV as we are today. And we hope that it's been helpful to examine them.